Hello, Sobe Pontypridd. Can I take your order, please?
The heavyweight division is a bit of a chaotic situation at the moment. I mean, what's your take on it?
I hate it. It's just been. I go back a long way. I mean, I remember the first Holyfield Tyson date falling through in 1991. Remember
18th of November, was it?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Definitely November. I don't know if it's the 18th. You've busted me there. But I remember it being 1991. I remember November for sure. And that was a mega fight getting compared to Ali Frazier and whatnot. And this one, Fury and Joshua, has been getting talked about. No, any day now. Curveball. No, it's not happening. Tyson's away fighting a guy that he's beaten twice. And, the Wilder hardcore fans can push it till doomsday, but the bottom line is he was outclassed once and beaten up the second time. What happens when he loses this next fight? Do you turn around and say, let's give him a fourth chance? He might catch him this time. It's long past the ridiculous stage, but look, I don't want to get I've already went too negative, but I don't see the point of that fight actually happening. I think Joshua by far has got the stiffer test against Usyk, and at least we've not seen that before. But I'm starting to look at it now saying I wouldn't be surprised if something silly happens and you just never get Fury Joshua, and we talk about it 10, 15, 20 years from now in the pub. What would have happened? Would this have happened? Fury would have knocked him out. No, Joshua would have knocked him out. Like, big arguments over it just never happens because they pushed the envelope with it before and Joshua got upset by Ruiz. And now we're going to push the envelope again. And as much as I don't rate Deontay Wilder, I haven't for a long, long time. I think he's an athletic right-hand power puncher, and when that gets taken away from him, he's short on answers. I don't buy into the whole pad work routines that he's doing. I think when he starts to get clipped by a guy that's 270 pounds, he'll revert to type. But he has still got the ability to knock Tyson out with a single dig. So just on that alone, that's what you're selling the fight on. Can Deontay land the cartoon punch? Because that's all it is. You can't do anything with him tactically. And I'll argue the toss on that with anyone.
Yeah, just going back to Fury and Joshua and the fight that's not happening now. How didn't the promoters, how didn't Eddie Hearn, how didn't Bob Arum, how didn't they realise that this court case or arbitration was ongoing?
Yeah. No, they did. I think the unanimous belief was that it was going to come out in Fury's favour. Now, Eddie, I seen an interview with him, looked stunned by the decision that was made at the arbitration. And according to Eddie, Bob Arum, who had a legal career, by the way, in the past, was flabbergasted by it and shocked. I don't know, mate. I mean, that is meant to be what, everyone basically must have looked at it and said, Tyson's going to come out of this smelling of roses and we're going to jet off to Jeddah and have a fight, but it all backfired. So yeah, that was the first thing that I thought of. The amount of lawyers involved in that setup is ridiculous, but it all fell apart.
And of the two fighters, it does seem that Anthony Joshua is more upset that the fight is not happening, whereas Tyson Fury seems quite excited, quite upbeat about fighting Wilder a third time.
Interesting point. Yeah, Anthony Joshua does look positively pissed, and I don't blame him. You think in Eddie Hearn, I mean, God knows the air miles he's collected. I don't blame Anthony Joshua for being pissed off at it because he really, really wanted the fight, and it's all fell apart now. Like the switch to Usyk, which is a tricky fight for him. It's not going to motivate him anywhere near as much as what Fury would have. The money's not going to be the same. A lot of time and effort has went into the build-up stages of this. Tyson is the kind of guy, he's not going to mope. I think that goes against how he wants to live his life at the moment. So he's just going to say, look, I need to fight Wilder again. I'll just go on with it. But yeah, I don't blame Anthony Joshua for being pissed off. Who wouldn't be?
And Joshua's fight with Usyk is obviously an excellent boxer, a cruiserweight. Still, I don't think he's proven himself we don't know how good he is yet at heavyweight.
No.
How do you see that fight going?
It's early days, but one thing I will say is that a lot of people just base Usyk's abilities at heavyweight and in this fight based on the Chisora fight, which I think is a mistake, because Chisora's style and Joshua's style couldn't be any more different. Chisora needs to press you, put the pressure on you, cut the ring down, get off to the body, smother your work, blah, blah, blah. Joshua doesn't fight like that. And even though he showed the versatility that he did in the rematch with Andy Ruiz, got up on his toes and outboxed Andy Ruiz, it would be very, very difficult for me to foresee him applying a Chisora style to take Usyk down. So this is going to be a boxing match, I believe. And you've got a crafty southpaw in there with good head movement, changes the levels, good counter puncher. Maybe underestimated a bit in just how hard he can pop or how accurate he is. If he tips Joshua to the top of the head, what's going to happen? Does Joshua definitely stand up to a Usyk shot? Conversely, can Usyk take a Joshua shot? I don't think there's many men in the world that can take a Joshua shot. Interesting fight. I don't think it's a gimme for the champion.
And I presume that fight's going to take place in the UK. Have you heard any different?
I think so. No, I've not heard any different. I would imagine that'll be London. I think because there will be massive interest in it. Usyk is very popular over here. He's fight with Tony Bellew, and he's been around. So that is a massive fight. To be honest, I'm really looking forward to it. And to a degree, I'm looking forward to Fury Wilder 3 because it's still two of the preeminent heavies out there. But it's just not, at the end of the day, not to pour cold water on everything. It's just not the fight that we all wanted to see first. But yeah, we'll go on with it, mate. We've seen worse.
It does remind me a lot. It's got the same sort of feel as when Lennox Lewis didn't fight Riddick Bowe.
Yeah, I've seen that comparison recently. I'll tell you the only thing I'll say there. Lennox, to my mind, didn't start to peak, really reach his peak until 97, 98. Once Stewart had really dug his claws in and started to mould his style and refine him a bit more. And Riddick's done by then. Riddick Bowe was done by the mid-90s. I think 96, as you're looking at the Bowe-Galota fights. Before that, Holyfield, he looked jaded, hair behind. He'd kind of lost his drive and his ambition. So that didn't drag out in the same way. Riddick just basically lost his mojo and was left behind. And Lennox is the much better fight. And I don't think that Lennox needed Riddick Bowe to secure his legacy. I think Tyson Fury needs Anthony Joshua, and I think Anthony Joshua needs Tyson Fury. That's the main difference.
And I think as well, at the moment, boxing needs that fight to take place because really, you take Anthony Joshua out of the equation, take Fury out, Canelo maybe. I mean, there's not that many big names in boxing at the moment, crossover stars.
Josh Taylor. I'm only kidding. Right, no, listen, Josh is now on his way, and hopefully he gets the fights he deserves and can move on to become the kind of star he deserves to be. I was just throwing that in there at a patriotism. But no, you're right. I mean, although Canelo kind of replaced Floyd Mayweather, right? So and he's got more of an exciting style than a lot of people would say Floyd had. To have a brace of British heavyweights out there is great fun. Brilliant for us. Dillian White is still in the mix. Boxing always, regurgitates itself and comes back with some sort of strength. Somewhere along the line in some division, you'll always have something good going on.
Hello, Selby Pontypridd. Can I take your order, please?